Modern mobile devices have quite successfully sheltered many game genres, including fighting games, a very popular genre based on hand-to-hand combat in two-dimensional or three-dimensional arenas. Street Fighter IV. The port of the famous fourth part of one of the best series of fighting games, which, along with a couple of other games, directly stood at the origins of the genre. 32 unique fighters of different genders and with different fighting styles, many interactive arenas, nice graphics, the ability to fight other players through online multiplayer. All this makes Street Fighter IV perhaps the best fighting game on mobile devices. The game has a training mode that will allow you to master the game not only for old fans, but also for complete beginners who, for unknown reasons, decide to start exploring the Street Fighter series through the mobile version. The game is full of a variety of settings and modes. There is a convenient touch control and other advantages. The game is available for free, but with serious limitations. To get full access to Street Fighter IV, you will have to purchase a paid version, but the game deserves it. The mobile version of the famous UFC simulator from EA Sports, fully dedicated to such a popular sport today as mixed martial arts. In eSports UF, all aspects of the fight, according to the rules of MMA, are maximally reflected. In addition, here the players are expected by more or less serious fighters who perform or have previously competed in the UFC promotion. Excellent high-resolution graphics, authentic animations recreated by motion capture technology, the most convenient touch controls are quite serious inclinations to make fighting game fans pay attention to the game. In the full version of EA Sports UFC, players have access to over 70 fighters from 4 different divisions. But that's not all. Here you can also create your own unique fighter by customizing his appearance and physical parameters, and then try to bring him to the championship belt in career mode. The game also has an RPG element, allowing you to improve the skills of your virtual fighter. Mortal Kombat Mobile is a special version of Mortal Kombat X designed for Android smartphones and tablets. Here are all the characters from this part with their famous tricks and brutal fatalities. In total, the game has access to 130 heroes that can be upgraded, opening up access to new techniques and strengthening them with the help of special artifacts. You can fight here in PvP and against bots, 1-on-1, and in team battles, 3-on-3. Also available in Mortal Kombat Mobile and many other exciting modes. The game is constantly updated with content and fun events. For example, every day there are special tests, for the successful completion of which valuable gifts are laid, for example, cosmetic items and even unique characters. Another interesting in-game event is Online Faction Wars. The winning side also receives serious rewards and all sorts of temporary advantages. Blood and Glory Legend, a 3D fighting game in an antique setting dedicated to gladiator fights. Players create their own gladiators and upgrade them by fighting each other in the arenas or completing various tasks, including those tied to an interesting story campaign. For victories, the heroes of Blood and Glory Legend receive not only valuable experience, but also powerful armor, different types of weapons, consumable items that improve stats, and other valuable stuff. The plot of the game Blood and Glory Legend will lead players through the gloomy empire and will face incredible bosses, ferocious and invincible. It is worth noting that although the story turned out to be rather dark, in the spirit of dark fantasy or alternative history, there was a place for cruel humor in it. The graphics in the game are advanced, fully three-dimensional, and flavored with high-quality special effects. True, because of this, Blood and Glory Legend requires a fairly powerful modern Android device to run, or you can use a special emulator for PC. Real Boxing, a popular multi-platform boxing simulator, which can also be attributed to fighting games. The game is realistic literally in everything, starting with graphics and animation, and ending directly with the combat mechanics. In addition, many legendary boxers are represented here, and to whom this turns out to be small, they can create their own fighter in a special editor in order to use it to go through an interestingly implemented mode called Career. This game also has a great multiplayer that can pleasantly surprise all players without exception, especially serious fans of real boxing. The mentioned career mode impresses with its duration. It is divided into 3 divisions of 9 fights each. There was also a place for RPG. By visiting the gym and participating in training sparring, the character improves his physical condition and acquires new boxing skills. Real Boxing 2, the long-awaited second part of the best boxing simulator, released on Android in 2020. The multiplayer part has now become even more advanced, which allows Real Boxing 2 to be considered a full-fledged sports MMO, although the ability to play in single-player mode still remains. There is a career mode, various tournaments, quick fights, and even special historical fights with the participation of world boxing legends. The boxing system is almost the same as in the first part, but there are some changes towards realism. There are also temporary daily and weekly events in the game, like temporary bosses available in Real Boxing 2 for a limited time. For defeating them, rare and exclusive rewards are relied upon, customization items, advanced boxing equipment, experience points, and so on. There is an editor for creating new characters, as well as a flexible system for setting up combat. Shadow Fight Arena, a multiplayer action game in which a characteristic 2D fighting game is crossed with a role-playing game in the ancient Oriental style, and the game characters are ninjas, samurai, and other fearless warriors of the ancient East. The gameplay of Shadow Fight Arena is geared towards PvP. The gameplay uses a 2-dimensional camera, although the entire environment is drawn in 3D today. Shadow Fight Arena is considered one of the most popular games on Android. It has been downloaded more than 500,000 times. It was also named Best Mobile Game of 2020 by DevGam. Beautiful graphics, an abundance of upgraded fighters, spectacular and unpredictable fights. All this instantly draws you into Shadow Fight Arena. This also includes very simple controls, corresponding to those of the best classic fighting games. You can fight one-on-one against bots or live players from all over the world via the internet, as well as in team battles 3-on-3. In the latter case, the players themselves form teams for themselves, selecting fighters from several dozen unique characters, which are various ancient Japanese warriors, samurai, ronin, shinobi, and so on. Bleach, Immortal Soul, a beautiful atmospheric fighting game based on the world-famous anime, which adopted the basis of the plot with all the key characters, corporate style, and some other features, without which the original source is inconceivable. Players will find a huge number of familiar characters who have received a distinctive fighting style, a set of weapons and voice, acting with the participation of the original actors. Bleach, Immortal Soul also attracts attention with its unusual combat mechanics. Fights take place in turn-based strategic mode using the notorious QTE system, where players need to acquire illuminated keys in time to make a successful strike or parry. All this forms a unique combat style, dynamic and unpredictable, where strategic thinking is on par with the level of reaction of the player. Real Steel Boxing Champions, stylish fighting game with a fantastic user base, more than 50 million people. Players in Real Steel Boxing Champions create their own boxer robots and then send them to fight in one of 10 unique arenas. Opponents are the robots of other users and special story bosses. The more fights, the more experience, and the more powerful the steel boxer becomes. Progress also opens up access to new parts, with which you can strengthen an existing robot or create a completely new one. Of course, not without an abundance of cosmetic features. You can hang all sorts of stylish accessories on robots and repaint them in all sorts of catchy colors. In total, Real Steel Boxing Champions has 17 basic versions of robots, from which you can form unique fighters using hundreds of all kinds of parts. BlazBlue RR, anime fighting game from the famous BlazBlue series, known for its fantastic combat speed and numerous stunning special effects. A beautiful and interesting game that is highly recommended for fans of anime and fans of hardcore 2D fights in the spirit of the old school. The game has not only excellent visuals, but also a peppy soundtrack in the best traditions of J-Rock. And there are more than 50 unique fighters here that you can try out in different PvP and PvE modes. There is a large selection of additional equipment and all sorts of fancy weapons. There is a character leveling system. The last plus is support for special gamepads for mobile devices on Android. Injustice: Gods Among Us. A port of the famous superhero fighting game in which supervillains and superheroes of the DC universe fight each other. An element of a card game has been added to the mobile version of the fighting game. Players collect cards of their favorite characters and use them to form their own teams of up to 3 fighters each. Players can also collect new items for their favorite characters and even moves with superpowers. You can fight in Injustice: Gods Among Us with bots and live opponents from all over the world. Battles take place in real time on interactive 3D arenas. Characters can be upgraded by upgrading their abilities and equipping them with more powerful costumes. Injustice 2. The second part of the famous fighting game with DC superheroes and supervillains. The main idea has remained virtually unchanged, but in addition to competitive multiplayer, Injustice Roman 2 also has a joint co-op, where you can clear raids and fight bosses with friends. A large selection of equipment, many superpowers, interesting pumping, modern mobile graphics. The game Injustice 2 has everything to interest fans of fighting games. In addition, the game Injustice Roman 2 also features a storyline designed for an interesting and unhurried passage for several hours. One of the most epic fighting games available on Android in the free version. You can also play on a PC, but this will require one of the Android emulators, of which there are currently a large number with different functional features. If your favorite game is not included in this list, write in the comments. Thanks for watching. Subscribe our channel, watch our other videos, press like, turn on notifications, and you will always be aware of what to play today.